Right then. So, welcome to the Cunning Plan Podcast. We're here today with Jackie, Louis and Debbie, three of our brightest creative minds, to talk a little about design, graphic design and branding and things like that today. So, the first question I suppose is, what's going on in the world of design at the moment? What kind of trends have we got coming up and what are you seeing out there at the moment? You'd like to kick us off?
Obviously a lot of trends are quite a lot of influence from obviously WGSN site, but obviously that's carried through interiors and fashion on the catwalk. So at the moment there's like a lot of tribal print coming in for 2018, a lot of transparency, plastics, also there's a lot of bold primary colours, giving quite a lot of influence to obviously fashion, but also to packaging as well, and to interior design. So it's kind of flowing into like the seasons, spring, summer, autumn and winter. So they tend to be ahead by 6 months to sell into the current market. So again,
I think these primary colours have gone a bit retro in the field, quite bold, aren't they?
Yeah, they've gone quite bold. Obviously going back to a hint of like the 70s.
Yeah, 70s and 80s.
Yeah, so there's honestly quite
colours.
and obviously a lot of the fashions of the big shoulder pads and the bright garish prints, and obviously like the plastics have been quite influenced on the jewellery as well. So obviously like earrings and things like that, but they are like obviously bold colours, but also pastels as well. So it's quite a mix array of colours into the mainstream. But again, it carries through from quite a lot of different design disciplines. Usually has like a sort of 12 months of it lasts for really. So.
Yeah, there's almost like a sort of look back away from technology, because it always used to be focused on sort of high tech and what the next sort of technology and advancement is, but there's almost like a cultural look back to simpler things.
Like all the gadgets anymore. It's
advertising, promotions in general. They've become a little bit more sort of simplified in approach. It's what we were saying earlier, Deborah, about getting closer to the customer and emotional truths and being transparent in the way that they're talking. It's more about
kind of returning to a more human form. But that's a lot. Even the fashion trend, like all the fashion trends, are usually influenced by global trends. So it's what's happening in a global. So like if you look at the global UN trends, which is all about culture, mindset, all that then gets filtered down into design, because it influences the industry in terms of where they go and how they invest their money. So that's why you see a lot of businesses kind of going back to their core values, if you know what I mean, to sort of think about where are we going in the next 10 years. If we're going to survive and if we're going to be present in the market, then we have to do things in line with what the global trends are. Otherwise, that's where you do it or you don't.
So. It also seems to be a lot more. We talked a lot recently about tribal patterns and more kind of illustrative, quite traditional drawings over the top of things like that.
That's right.
It seems to be something of a trend that's coming through.
Yeah, I think that's happening because we were talking earlier about because obviously there's a massive market at the moment, where you can go and get stuff off the shelf design, which obviously means that you get a lot of stuff which is look-alike, same as. And in order to differentiate yourself from the market, then people are investing. You're getting sort of some of the sort of what you call kind of slow movement, slow design, where it's handcrafted and more time is taken over creating designs, and that's why like brand storytelling's come back in, because again people are taking more time over thinking about what is our message, what do we actually stand for, what are our values, if you know what I mean. So kind of go back to values and standards of a business to sort of use that as a benchmark to sort of, you know, so there's a bit of a divide there, I think, you know, in terms of...
I think visually as well, people are getting savvy to the fact that you can buy a lot of things off the shelf, and we were talking about earlier that they're going back to respecting the fact that designers who design well and who have experience in branding and you know, even designing simple logo types, there's a difference between ones you can buy off the shelf and ones that have been crafted and they spent time with, and there's a little bit of investment in terms of money, it's a little bit more expensive, but companies are putting more stock in that, and it's almost gone back to the way it was.
Yeah, there's too many people before, obviously, you would go and get a lot of, you know, I mean, when I freelance, I work with obviously with small businesses and big businesses, and I can see a massive difference between the bigger businesses, obviously, who have thought about their process, marketing, and everything else. The smaller businesses, you know, would have come to me because they've sort of, you know, they've bought the logo from one person, then they've gone to a web designer or something else, then they've gone, and then they try to piece it all together. That's not branding, and then they realised actually that branding is a much bigger. People start to realise actually it's not just a logo. It's everything. It's from there how you speak to your customers, how you deliver it. It's the whole thing. So it's not just visually anymore. It's how it looks, how it speaks, how it reacts.
Strategic.
It's more strategic now.
It definitely feels like there's a, you know, we've been through a stage of time where the Fivers and all this kind of thing where you can get a logo done for 50 quid and, you know, this kind of thing, and people seem to be getting to that point again now, or you can, you know, build your own website or whatever else for, you know, 100 quid a month, but people are starting to realize actually, you know, it's more, the value of those things is worth so much more than just, you know, 50 quid, just that little kind
Getting it out there.
They all kind of look the same.
Exactly,
the
word,
the
icon, you know, pick an icon, pick a word, and there you've got your...
People want to be kind of different in the market, so they need to spend the money really to get a different look.
Yeah, speculate to accumulate. But there is that honesty thing about it, because we were talking about like emotional truths in branding and business, that a lot of like global advertising and mainstream above the line advertising is more about the brands talking honestly and open to the customers about how they conduct themselves and how their business is, and using that as a selling tool rather than flashing up a logo or an offer and hoping that will win people over. And it's the same with the branding, is that there's an honesty to having something handcrafted, and there's almost PR in hiring an agency and publicising that to say we're investing in our business with this advertising agency to handle our branding properly and craft something rather than, you know, pluck something off the shelf and put it out there. And there's an honesty and an emotional truth to that, as well as then marketing your company and the way you do it to get customers.
Do you think that's it, in terms of what kind of leads those design trends? Do you think it's a fashion thing? We talked a bit about, you know, fashion leading it a little bit, or is it more, you know, what you were saying, where it's actually more cultural, a bit more about what people are, you know, what people want from the businesses they're going to engage with and things?
It's difficult because obviously it depends which generation, because obviously, you know, you could say, you know, because, you know, if you're starting, because a lot of people would say when you go into sort of starting a business, like, because obviously you think about video now, it's all about, it actually doesn't have to be polished, it's about just getting your video, and especially that's why you're seeing a lot of Generation Z and young people going out and just getting online, not worrying about that it's perfect to start with, getting
nothing polished like what we're doing.
No. but that's, it's weird, because I know as design we've always been about making it perfect before it goes out there, but actually when you go out and meet the entrepreneur world and entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs specifically, they have less attachment to, because, you know, the only way you find out, especially when you're test marketing, obviously it's probably more about starting a brand and starting something from scratch, not from a business perspective. You have to get it out there, and you only find out how good it is until you get it out there. You could spend ages polishing and making it perfect, but like what Jackie was saying before, if you haven't done the research, but a lot of the research now, the best way to get that research is actually to put it out there to start with.
Yeah,
It
do
might be a bit
something, see what everyone thinks
yeah,
about
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and do it again. You know.
Yeah, that's what they say, like places like Facebook and stuff now, or Instagram is, you know, you can actually start it, get it out there, and actually see is anyone going to follow it or not going to follow it, and then you can see is it working, is it not working, because otherwise you could spend a lot of money on branding and everything else, and then it, yeah.
Kind of wrong target market.
Yeah, I think we're all guilty of having this. I want to create this absolutely perfect thing that it's going to be, you know, amazing when we finally get it out there. And the reality is, it's never finished. It never goes out. It never goes anywhere. And we've done that with all sorts of things where you never quite put it out, because it's never quite perfect. But actually, you know, people's success is in just do it. Give something a try something new and see if it works, and if it hits then great, and if it doesn't, don't be afraid to chuck it all in the bin and do something different.
There's almost an appeal with the audience that the less it is crafted and the more it's instant, and there's more of an honesty to what you're doing, and that attracts customers. And if it's highly polished and very slick and very well produced, people almost like would skip past or turn it off because they know that's a big firm trying to, you know, get your viewing figures. And if it's literally put out there and it's just like a guy sort of running around and trying to promote themselves, and it's just a throwaway thing, there's an honesty to that people actually respond to, because there's so much out there, and everyone has a mobile phone, everyone's totally connected the whole time, everyone has all the information, so it's a lot harder for companies to pull the wool. And there are people that try to craft something that looks instant.
It looks like it's been hours and hours, days and days working on it.
There's a couple in a flat and I'm playing a prank around the actor, and you know that you're both actors or models, and you know, people just, everyone knows because it's been done in the internet.
Well, they do use real people. So.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it depends where, I think it's when you're on the journey of, you know, because Jackie does a lot of packaging, so I'm sure there's where it depends where you're positioning yourself in the market, and that's where you do have to spend time and the money. But pre to that, they will have done a lot of research as to whether that product is even though you're working on different stuff that it's sometimes even after you've started the design process that even the client actually realises that what they thought was right isn't right, because the mark actually, because I'm sure you've had people who've suddenly changed. Yeah,
they've changed it, the brief halfway through. But sometimes it's for the good. It's like, actually, we've all learned lessons here, actually.
That's a brave, that's quite a brave thing to do.
When you start to listen to
this is, sometimes the design isn't just a thing that's been plopped on the front of a box or a bottle or whatever. It's actually, it's helping to evolve the product as well. We're thinking, actually, now I'm thinking about this, maybe that isn't right for that target, maybe we need to go back and think of what the product is. I think that brings us really nicely on to the kind of next section of what we wanted to talk about today, which is really about the creative process, about how you guys individually approach a creative project, whether that's for a brand new brief for a brand new brand that doesn't exist, or creating a company who's has no name, has no nothing, or whether that involves working with a big brand or a company that's got a really, really established identity and a really tight brand guidelines. But what I kind of wanted to talk about was how you take a brief, how you get that brief in, and how you approach coming up with creative ideas and kind of getting those different angles on something that other people might not necessarily be able to think of.
Usually when I start a brief, sometimes there isn't a brief.
A lot of times
very often in the creative world there isn't a brief, there's a couple of lines. But usually the marketeers have been out there and give me a pretty strong brief of the kind of product it's going to be and where it's going to go eventually. Let's say for instance it's packaging, it's going to go in store. Obviously I usually start off looking at the competitors, just to check, obviously, because quite a lot of designers, even though you're subconsciously not thinking about other brands, you maybe put something similar on your mood board, so you need to take that off. So you need to obviously get all the competitors just to make sure, font and style-wise, but obviously the brief will lead you usually is me to kind of think about what kind of product this is, the target market, is it for the young, is it for the old, is it premium, quite a lot of premium products. So obviously packaging helps sell, which is whether it's natural or is it premium like high-end, you probably think nice sort of finishes on the packaging, like metallics and silvers, you would more go to if you go into, like I say, a supermarket for instance, you would go more for the premium with the silver, the black, usually the dark brown. It's usually them kind of colours which draw you in, but again it's all about the photography on there, on the name. Sometimes the name draws you to the styles, but usually, like I say, I start with the some words first, and then usually I go into looking for like some inspiration of, like, it might just be one image which is just says this is the brand. It might just be one simple image of some photography or image which captures what the client's trying to get across in the brief, and then I probably put a couple of mood boards together of different styles, maybe with some typography, just to obviously catch the personality of the product. And usually it stems from there as a starting block, and then obviously used to go to the client then to show them, is there anything that draws them to, it might be a picture, it might be a bit of type, so the product could be more typographical led, or it could be image led, or ingredients led.
Just trying to kind of get a kind of mix of visual with some time.
Yeah, just and like usually I kind of look on Pinterest, Instagram. I've got magazines, books, books at home. Quite a lot of inspiration, really. It could be fashion. It could be a print on some fabric, which might give me an influence to actually think, actually that would be quite nice as packaging. So there's all sorts of like different sources, and again I kind of plan it in a way with colours and try to get it so it's evenly balanced of that kind of personality for that, even though it could be like 3 different mood boards of 3 different styles. So that's how kind of, as a starting block, I start and then really dig deep when they go closer into actually like this route. It's a modern route, is it a retro, is it a typography route? Again, the typography could lead to deal and words. And
is it an established process? Is it, or
sometimes
does it change when it's a different, like say someone wants some branding from you? Is that a different kind of design process to one?
It's kind of it's kind of, I kind of use the same same process for all, like it's fashion, food and drink. It's the same process with the personality actually of what we're trying to sort of sell. And so I do my homework first and then kind of.
You kind of use like a mix sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of
mix. Just gives a good like personality on the board, and instantly actually this is not for us, this brand. It looks too natural. This looks too high end. This looks so it's a bit of a
personality informs
I think it does. And then as soon as like you go for a route, you drill down. And at that point, the brand logo or a name might not be established at that point, but sometimes like the personality might think will give you a name to add to the personality of the product.
Just to help the client kind of
so they give them like a sounding box, and you obviously do quite a lot of looking for inspiration for words as well, just keywords and strap lines, that's all it can be.
Forms a tone of voice.
Yeah, I mean just walking like in the street, I sometimes go into like the shopping stores, like retail shops like Selfridges and Harvey Nichols, and look at all the packaging. I get a lot of inspiration by actually going out and looking, taking pictures, which you're not supposed to do, but hey, just like, with the iPhone, just to get but that's the kind of, that is like what most people do. I'll go to the supermarket, get the iPhone out, and I'll start taking pictures of products, and hopefully you know,
We were laughing the other day because I said, you know, some designers we're like the equivalent of a train spotter because, you know, people do train spotting, but we kind of walk around looking at packaging,
boxes,
yeah. Instead of looking at the clothes, we're looking at smelling the paper. That's the classic one.
The weight.
What about this been printed?
So it's quite a lot of so that is like the usual sort of starting point from there, and then obviously, you know, it's something will come from that. That's like a good sounding block for what I do. So
it's quite a lot of research and everything like that. And it's interesting you say about looking for things that other people have done, so that you kind of don't do that, because there's the danger you end up down and in the same direction.
So quite a lot of the brands they kind of want something different, and they want to be making their own mark. Obviously, it's a brand new product. They want it completely different, but they'll have like, oh, we like this brand, we like that brand, but we don't tend to steer clear of, you know, tend to know what's around by doing a lot of research first.
It's hard when you work in a visual business and you're constantly bombarded by imagery not to actually be led by trends, because
that's right.
what you're seeing all the time is
because it might go out.
Stay that way, so you almost consciously have to put that to one side and find something new to
push it.
Because some brands, like I say, quite a lot of brands have like a strong identity anyway, so it needs to have a shelf life, at least 5 years, you know, and develop it from that way. Usually you can't really do a 12-month one. You've got to sort of think ahead and, you know, think what's best for this brand and who it's targeted.
How are you doing? What's your sort of process? Is it similar? Is it the same all the time, or do you kind of evolve based on the brief and?
Depends what the budget is. Maybe don't have as much luxury as Jackie sometimes with my bootstrap clients. But no, I mean, I will do that same process of, you know, initially coming up with a board of colours and typography and stuff like that. I mean, I do a lot of work with sort of like companies that do rebrand. So it's usually looking at the brand that they've got at the moment. Why do they want to do the rebrand? You know, is it right? Is it wrong? You know, and then putting some. Usually there's like, this is where your brand is. And they usually want, this is where the brand is. This is a nudge on, and this is going completely new. Sort of like saying how far are you prepared to go, sort of thing. And you know, sometimes you've got to be careful with that kind of thing, because, you know, I'll say that, well, if your clients already know you because if they got accustomed to colours and everything else, is actually maybe it's just a refresh, and that's really all you need. It's just maybe because it's not actually the identity itself that needs refreshing, it's the fact that maybe, like I said, it's become inconsistent. How they use the logo and their marketing and everything else is actually the whole message and everything becoming. That's why I find a lot of clients.
If it's grown and sort of Frankenstein's monster, a bit added on here, and on there, bringing it all back together.
Yeah, that's what I get that quite a constant theme of people sort of who've gone, like say, they've had different things done for different people and they've not really kept sort of tight rein on how it's been developed, and then they've got to a point where it's all become a bit diluted. They don't. Nothing really fits together, if you know what I mean. So then they kind of want actually it brought back together onto one.
Some guidelines.
Sort of like. Sometimes it does mean that you do a refresh. You know, they'll ask for that, and other ones are brave enough to do the refresh and go because actually the logo actually doesn't suit where they are anymore. Yeah. They actually do need something new. But I go through that process as well. I don't do as much packaging, I do more sort of branding, but I've kind of moved away from more doing brand strategy and stories more, because that's what I'm finding a lot more people, like I said, are looking for how they want to know their values and their standards and how their story ties in rather than a visual.
It's really interesting how much that, you know, design and the value, brand values and you know, people are understanding brand a lot more, I think, in terms of, you know, even from when I started, you know, we do a lot of just brand was just do a logo, come up with some names and whatever else, whereas I think a lot of people are kind of getting the hang of this, the fact that is a small part of what you do, and it has to go through the people and the training and everything that's part of that company, and it has to be consistent, because there's no point having a brand that says we're transparent if you're keeping everything secret, or if we're, we've got all natural ingredients when you haven't, or whatever else. It's like you can't do that.
But I think that's obviously been influenced by things like social media, because obviously that whole idea of because I think it was marketing, so content marketing, and then evolved from content, and now it's about engagement and experience, so even all the content things people used to be able to make money from content, but now it's you've got to give it for free, because actually what people really want is engagement, and they want an experience. Even that's why all these music artists now are quite happy to give their money away money away. But they give the music away, because obviously you can go on YouTube and you get things for free, but where they build their brand awareness and everything else is the experience of their concert and their products and it's the same for businesses tapping into that, with doing with what you're doing now with the podcast, events, seminars, actually going back to networking one-to-one, actually being able to speak to people. So that's
interesting. How do you find that, Louis? How do you find trying to come up with something? When you've been working on a brand for a decent amount of time, you've done a lot of different things with it. You kind of have this fairly set brand identity. You've got logo, you've got everything else. You know what the identity is, but you still got to come up with something new, a new creative route for something. It's this seasonal campaign or whatever. How do you try and find that new, exciting, interesting new thing and not end up falling into a kind of pattern of just doing the same old?
I think a lot of it comes from the brief, and you eke out and bring out as much sort of gold out of the brief as possible, and if there's not much there, you eventually have to get to a point where you start coming up with lines, you start coming up with messages, and that's kind of what I do. I sit there with my notebook and just start writing lines that would suit with the campaign or the idea, or basically what they're trying to say, but then change the words and put an inflection on it. So then I think that the tone and the phrasing of lines and copy can very much influence an image. Like what Jackie was saying, the tone of voice and personality then starts to spring ideas into your head of an image that would suit with that. And it's very much like a text and image kind of build then, because then it starts to grow. And I think, like Jackie was saying, it's important to check back with the client that you're not going down a rabbit warren or squirrel.
You kind of you need to kind of, I think the mood boards is a good sounding base for everyone, just to say, right, this is what I'm thinking, and then usually there might be one image on there they actually love. And then
it's those very degrees of sort of grey in the gradients. You can start off very white and clean and clinical with an answer to a brief, and then you can go to the black end of the scale where it becomes quite dark or almost too crazy. So you always got to keep testing how far you're going down the gradient line with the client. But I think it's important to actually, with a client, sometimes it's the classic thing if you respond to a brief with 3 ideas. One that's a safe option that you know they're going to take. 2 is the one that they really want the answer, and then there's the 3rd one which you think that's a little bit it's a bit nuts, but you never know. Someone might have an espresso that day, pick it up on the computer and go, wow, that's the best thing I've ever seen, let's do that, we go gangbusters and regret it later. But I think it's important to actually give them that option that pushes the sort of limit of where they think their brand is. Just a little bit over the line, because secretly they want that. They don't want to say no safe barriers, because they know that might tap into something that a customer would want, or open up a whole new market they've never conceived, because we all, particularly people who work 9 to 5 in big companies, get a little bit institutionalised in the way that they think. And it's the same with branding. Unless you completely look at it differently, or get a freelancer in, or someone who's completely unrelated to it to give it fresh eyes, you're never going to see anything new about your company or your brand. And I think that's what you've got to do. You've almost got to scare them into that point of, is that really looks like? Is that what we could do? Yeah, of course it is. Just entertain that idea.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I mean, I think that's why one of the reasons why we've had so many of our clients for such a long time is that we don't are constantly trying to think of something new and interesting to do. That kind of born out of the fact that like we all hate doing the same thing over and over again. You want to do something new all the time and want to try something. If you've got brave clients that believe in you and believe that you have the you've always got the best interest of the brand at heart. So you're never going to that crazy idea isn't going to be so crazy that it's totally off brand. It's going to alienate customers and it's not going to work. It has that that brand at heart, but it's just taking it a bit further. I think that excites clients. Let's try and give that a try. But
sometimes it helps though, depending on what brand it is. If it's a clean brand or it's quite a modern brand. Sometimes you kind of, if you're into them things yourself, it's quite easy to design. Or you're into like luxury and nice things, very easy to design, so you're kind of already in tune with the environment. So I know it sounds a bit.
I think that's actually being in tune with. If you really, because I think that's important in terms of again about understanding the brief and being able to get yourself. I mean, people talk about getting under the skin of the client. You've got to really really understand the client, the business and who they are, because sometimes, I mean, I know when I worked in agencies previously, you get the brief and you can just, before you've really immersed yourself in who the customer or who the client is and everything else, because you're too like, let's get the idea. You know what I mean? Whereas that's one thing that I've really learned over the last few years is that the more you really get to know the business, not just on the surface level, but the actual core business, how it works, who it is, how it operates, and understanding from a commercial perspective, and I find that definitely, the more I've done that, the more respect I've gained from the clients, and them actually, coming out sort of like, actually I think you should have an app. Oh yeah. And they go away and they think about it. They hadn't even thought about having an app maybe, because they were just thinking about branding a website. But then you're able to throw actually a business idea in there and say, actually we thought about this because that's maybe that's really where your market you could do. And I'd be surprised at how more open clients that are becoming to sort of. But I think that comes from, like you say, working with and you build that relationship with clients.
Trust and collaboration, and they sort of get to a point where you're not trying to sell stuff, you're trying to actually present something this is actually potentially a useful thing that you might be of value. So well, I think that's about time up for today. Thank you very much for taking a moment for a very, very brief summary of how we go about that creative process. At some point in the future, perhaps we'll catch back up and we'll dive a bit deeper into stuff about brand and things like that as well. But for now, we'll say goodbye and I'll see you next time.
Okay.